for me, that was the hardest deployment because I got in country. We were working really hard and trying to get missions. And I was embedding myself with the indigenous guys just to kind of go see what that, or not the indigenous, but the conventional Army guys. And we were going out to villages and we would take EOD guys out and do some specialized stuff.
Yeah.
But as a reward, the skipper said, hey, helicopter went down up in the mountains. Team 4 guys doing a turnover. Bird went down. People died. We need to go up and destroy the aircraft, but we also need to get the classified stuff burned up. And he's like, it's going to be a firefight up there. Go have a good time. I was like, hey, boss, I'm scheduled to leave in like 3 days. He's like, yeah, you'll be fine. So we prep and we fly up to the target, and there's the helicopter, it's a shell, and we just start dismantling it. And
it hadn't been rat fucked already?
It had been, but the initial, they got the initial bad stuff off of it, or crypto and stuff off of it.
Yeah.
But there was still some stuff that they didn't want the enemy to have.
Right.
So they had kept a kind of a guard up there. But it was time to go. So we were going to burn it up, and then we were going to get it out of there. But the skipper knew that it was going to be bad up there.
Yeah.
So we had Apaches flying up there, and I'm sitting there talking with the second lieutenant Army guy, and all of a sudden these little dust devils start popping up. And we both kind of look at each other like, oh, we're getting shot at. And there was no So I don't know where the fire was coming from. We couldn't see anything, but I mean, he was on target. He was just short.
Yeah.
Damn. So the conventional guys just kind of spread out and stayed low. I stopped and looked around, and as a sniper, I'm like, I need to get to high ground and see what's going on. So I get up to high ground, had a radio, and was talking with the conventional captain, and was kind of not calling in CAS, but just saw where the enemy was coming in from. And I put eyes on, and the Apaches came in and just absolutely laid waste.
Wow.
And then we called for an extract. Under fire, 47s came in, and like he put the ass of the helicopter, but the front of it was still up in the air.
Yeah.
And dudes are just coming in, and you hear rounds planking off of the bird.
Yeah.
And they were TF-160 guys.
Dude, those guys are badass.
Yeah. And they weren't leaving until they had everybody.
Yeah.
And we got everybody out, and I was just like, that was awesome. And then,
what a trip.
Yeah. And then 24 hours later, I was on a plane.
Damn.
Heading home.
Did you guys return fire at all, or was
it? Yeah. So they were returning fire. Just the Army guys were returning fire, and then the helos had spotted where they were coming from. And so they just lit up the whole mountainside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just to watch.
Went quiet?
Yeah. And then it went quiet, and then when the helo came in, it lit up again.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We never knew where they were.
Yeah.
But we saw where the Apaches were targeting.
Man.
And those little birds,
yeah,
they're bad
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the standout op for you personally on that deployment, as far as memorable?
Yeah, because I got to, the skipper brought me in on, hey, here's why. He taught me the why of the battle space.
Yeah.
So here's why we do the things the way we do. Here's why you have to communicate the way you do. And obviously, I don't have to tell you guys about communication, but we have partner forces, and here's what the overall picture of the supporting forces looks like.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And then as a reward, he's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go get some.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In terms of your career, when you went back from that, did you get out fairly soon after that?
No, that was in 2010. I ended up getting out in 2016.
Okay. What was the last 6 years like?
It was, I found out what it's like to have bad leadership.
That was the SOC year and like the logistics.
No, yeah, it was ops at 20.
Yeah.
And then SOC year, a portion of SOC year, and then finally I was just like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. So all administrative stuff, basically.
Yeah, but so coming back from Afghanistan, Mike, I couldn't learn new stuff. For some reason, the TBIs from football or from the years in the teams.
Yeah.
Coming, like, I could learn new team guy stuff because that was, we had the framework for that. Now you're just kind of adding small pieces to it.
Yeah.
But when I went over to the operation side, my organization wasn't good enough, and then I just couldn't learn new stuff.
Wow.
And then to have poor leadership on top of that.
Just like, fuck this.
Yeah, because I was begging. I was like, hey, I understand a little bit. Just take me a week and just kind of walk me through it and tell me the why.
Yeah.
And as poor leaders do, it was like, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have 2 hours a day for a week to kind of walk me through it.
Yeah.
For the next 2 years of my tour.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. And, so that was, and that was the first time I experienced bias on a level that was malicious.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
So it was, the guy clearly did not like people who were not white.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a SEAL leader?
Mm-hmm.
No
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Do you want to call him out?
Nah. I do, but nah.
You're not gonna.
No, because
Like, what was the clear? I mean, I get it, but what was the clearest example of that taking place where it really hit you?
it was, so if you don't like somebody's, if you're a racist or whatever, or you're biased, I can't quantify that. I don't know what that looks like. It's like, you don't like 20% of black people, or what does that mean? I can't quantify. I don't like a minority group. Okay. Now, if you have I don't like you and I have the intent to do wrong by you, then okay, that's a problem. But then if you have intent and the bias, and then you have the ability to execute, those are, if they meet those three, then I'll say I was racially profiled or targeted.
Yeah. What was the third part of that, like, what did he do to?
Well, he passed on to the new commanding officer. It's like, yeah, Mark sucks. And so the new skipper, instead of doing due diligence, say, what's the why? Are you a poor leader or what? So we had this incident to where we had a climate survey. And one of the questions was, hey, have you suffered any racial incidents? I was like, I normally wouldn't say anything, but since you're asking, yeah.